Right, welcome to the webinar, The Power of Leverage. This webinar is all about leveraging your time, your money, and your experience, okay? And I really want you to start to think about this in some detail. We covered in the first webinar the 10 key ways to ensure you think like an investor. So we talked about mindset and thinking like an investor. The second webinar in this series, we talked about what the property market's doing in 2015, 2016, and where to invest for the best returns. So in this third webinar, we're now talking about getting real leverage of your time, your money, and your experience. So what's on the agenda for the webinar? So first of all, we're going to cover financial leverage in property. So how to get more for your money, how to really leverage your investment, okay? We're going to talk about leveraging your time. We've only got so much time. We can't make more time. So how do we really leverage that? We're going to talk about leverage of experience. So using other people's knowledge and experience and really leveraging that to make sure you get the best returns. The leverage of discounts, so buying property with discounts and how much that can really affect your investment, how it can triple your financial returns just because you take the time and effort to learn the skill of buying at discount or find the right people to do that for you. And we're going to talk about the leverage of outsourcing, compounding other people's decades into days for you. You know, if somebody's spent 30 years learning to do something and they can do it brilliantly, and it means something gets done in days instead of taking you 20 or 30 years, let's talk about leveraging that outsourcing. Okay, so that's the agenda for the webinar. I'm Aran Curry. I'm the founder of the Insight Group and Property Investing Made Easy education, author of The Property Coach and Property Investing Made Easy. And as you'll know, I'm an investor with over 110 properties of my own and 100 joint venture properties. And we've helped our investors, our clients, and ourselves to buy over 1,000 buy-to-let investment properties. We've also helped to educate over 20,000 people in the last 3 years alone. Okay. So let's talk first of all about financial leverage in property. So how to get more for your money. Okay, and I'm going to use some illustrations, some simple drawn out illustrations to show you this. So a lot of people that I first meet that are just starting out in property or even down the path, I've got some good friends with 10 properties that have used this strategy all along, successful people, but they buy their properties for cash. So say you had £100,000 to invest and you went and took that and you bought a house. And the figures on the screen, the £100,000 on that left-hand image is the £100,000 house, and the nil that you can see, that's your mortgage. So that's the mortgage size that you've got on that property. So you've bought that house purely for cash. And then the market goes up 10%. So you've now on the right-hand side got a house worth 110,000 now with no mortgage on it. And you've had £10,000 of equity growth. You've got £10,000 more equity now than you had to start with. Okay. Now let's look at a second option, which is one of the key reasons I love UK property. It's the leverage that you can get through financing. You can't go to the bank and say, I'd like to invest £100,000 into the stock market. Please, will you lend me £75,000? I'm going to put £25,000 of my own money in. I've had a hot tip that Morrison shares are going to go up. Please, will you lend me the money? They're going to laugh you out of the bank. Similarly, you set up a brand new business, something you've never done before, and ask them to give you £75,000 of the seed money and you're putting £25,000 in, they're going to laugh you out of the bank. But yet you can go to them to look to invest in property and they will lend you 75% of the money that you need to buy the property. In fact, banks at the moment will go to 80 or 85%. I don't recommend that you go to that. I recommend that 75% is safe and secure. But you can go to 80 or 85% these days. Okay, so let's assume we took our £100,000 and in this second example, we put a £25,000 deposit down against each property. We've now got 4 properties instead of just one in our portfolio. We've bought 4 houses worth 100,000 each, and we've got mortgages of 75,000 against each one. Now, if the market now goes up 10%, we've got 10 houses going up 10%, so they're all worth £110,000 each. Now I'm going to take things a bit further. And some of you will fully get this, some of you this may still be new to you, but you can go back to the bank at that point and say, actually, because my house is now worth 110,000 and I bought a great rental property that rents well, watch my other webinars where we'll cover that, but because of that, please can I borrow 75% of the value of the property, which is now 110,000, so please can I borrow 82,500 against that? And they'd say, of course you can. The rent covers the increased mortgage. We're happy to lend you 75% of the new figure. So you're now in a position where you're able to borrow 82,500 against a house worth 110. So in this example, I want you to point out two things to you. First of all, without even doing that, because you've got 4 properties instead of 1, when the market goes up 10%, you've got £400,000 worth of property going up in value, not 100,000 as per the last slide. So you've got £40,000 worth of equity growth, even though the market has only gone up 10%. That is leverage. The market goes up 10%, we make 40% growth on our money. Remember, we only invested 100,000. Market moves 10%, we make 40% growth. Again, you can't do that on the stock market unless you're trading at options, which is a lot more risky, can be great and very profitable, but a lot more risky. And you can't do that in business unless you're really leveraging people as you grow a bigger business. So market goes up 10%, you've made 40k of growth. However, if you really get this concept and you see that I've increased the mortgages on each one, so I've been able to increase the mortgage on each house by 7,500, I've got £30,000 back out that I can now use to buy more houses if that's what I'd like to do, or I can use to go on holiday or buy a new car. Okay, so of the 40,000 increase in equity growth, I'm able to draw out 30,000 of that increase. Compare that with the previous slide. So we buy just one house and sink all our money into one property, we only get £10,000 of equity growth. Or we do it this way and we get 40,000 of equity growth and 30,000 of equity released. So that is the beauty of financial leverage. Okay. And by the way, when we start next year, instead of starting next year with only £110,000 worth of property, if you've got one, you're starting it with £440,000 worth of property growing for our next year here. Now let me take that even a step further. Let's talk now about the leverage of buying with discount. So let's assume that I bought these properties that are worth £100,000, that a RICS surveyor would have valued at £100,000, but I buy them for £80,000. I go to the bank and I get the bank to lend me 75% of that, so £60,000. So I've negotiated really well here. Okay, and I'm going to cover this in more detail later in the webinar. But I've been able to buy them for 80 and I've borrowed 60 on the mortgage. Because I only need £20,000 deposit now instead of 25,000, my £100,000 means I can buy 5 properties instead of 4 or 1. So I've now got 5 properties in my portfolio. So when the market goes up 10%, these properties are all worth 110,000, and I'll be able to go back to the bank and say, look, they're worth 110. Can I borrow 82,500? Just like we did when we had 4. But now I've got 5, so I've got £550,000 worth of property in my portfolio now. This is the exact same person, started with £100,000 but took a different path. This means they've had £50,000 worth of equity growth. So the market's only gone up 10%, but they've had £50,000 worth of equity growth and £100,000 of equity from the discount. So they've actually grown their equity by £150,000 because A, they buy with big discounts, 20% discounts, and B, they've got proper equity growth taking place. So I started with £100,000. In example number 1, I got 10,000 equity growth. In example number 2, where I use financial leverage, I got 40,000 of equity growth. In example number 3, I've got 150,000 of equity growth from my £100,000 investment. Now in this example, by remortgaging, the mortgages are 60,000 to start with, they're 82,500 when I've remortgaged, then I'm releasing £22,500 on each of these properties. That's £22,500 per property of equity released. I'm actually able to release just over £110,000 of equity. So this investor has got all of their £100,000 stake back out, and they own £550,000 worth of property. The initial investor has got nothing back out, and they've just increased their stake by 10,000. The second investor has got 30,000 back out and increased their stake by 40,000. So I think you'll see from these slides incredibly clearly what a massive difference leveraging buying with discount makes, and what a massive difference financial leverage makes. And I really want to open your mind to those two things. You've got to learn the skill to buy with that level of discount, and you've got to learn the skill to financially leverage at that level. Got to. Please don't miss out on this on your investment journey. Okay. So let's talk about leveraging some other things, and we'll come back to those slides. So let's talk about leveraging your time, because we've only got so much time. We can't make more time. Okay. The average UK family spends just 49 minutes a day together. You might have seen me show this slide before. Now, if you don't like your family, that might be a great stat. Okay, more than 2/3 of parents blame financial pressure for getting in the way of family life. 2/3. But if you do like your family, that's an awful stat. And what property does is it gives you options. You may choose to still not spend time with your family, but you may choose to spend more and more time with them. Okay. The challenge is when you're looking to invest in property, you'll be sat on this call and you'll be listening to me speaking and thinking, well, it's okay for him to say that. He's got 100 odd properties. It's okay for him to say that. He's been in this a long time now. I'm just starting out. This is taking more time, not less time. Okay. And I love these quotes. Warren Buffett, arguably the most successful business person ever. It wasn't until my 35th deal that I really knew what I was doing. Joseph Ross, it takes time to succeed because success is merely the natural reward of taking time to do anything well. So we'd all like to be expert investors, but how can we look after our future at the same time at looking after our present? Many investors have big work commitments. That's how they've earned enough money to have a deposit. They've got big family commitments. They might be aged between 30 and 60, so they've got children or grandchildren coming along that take time. So how can we become true experts in investing when it does take a long time? Because people can't afford to wait until their 35th property deal to get this right. Okay? You don't want to wait until your 35th property deal to get this right. So this is a challenge that people have and something that people have to work on. Okay, now linked to that, I'm giving you the challenges and then we're going to talk solutions, more solutions. And I want you to get these stats so you understand where you are, but then you understand the importance of the solutions that I'm teaching in the webinar today. So an average investor takes on average 15 people days to source one property with 20% discount. If I send people out of a room, teach them how to source with discount and send them out of the room to go around the estate agents and try and find great deals, then on average, it takes about 100 hours, 15 people days, to find one property with a genuine proper 20% discount from current market value. And to be a 20% discount, it's 20% from what it would sell for on the open market in the next 3 months. Okay. So to find 80 of those a month would be 5 years of work days. So it's not surprising that when new investors come along, or even experienced investors that only have a few hours per month, it's not easy to find properties with discount. You'll come on education webinars, or you'll go to education events and people will teach you, you need to get discount, but they don't show you exactly how. They don't know how to show you how to leverage and get those discounts. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, not only in this webinar, but in the rest of this webinar masterclass. So people end up getting lazy on the discount. Okay, they end up settling for less. Now, I'm going to cover this in more detail later, but I want you to understand, I showed you in pictorial form, but for those that like words more, if you invested £75,000 and it grew at 5% per annum, okay, then you can successfully, buying at discount, 20% discount, grow a portfolio of 10 properties over a 12-year period. Okay, with the exact same investment, all of the things equal, so the same tenants, everything else equal, same properties, but without getting discount. After 12 years, you'd have 3 properties. So imagine sitting next door to your brother or sister or best friend, and you both invest at the same time, and 12 years later, you're able to generate an income of 10,000 a year, but they bought a discount, and they can generate an income of over 30,000 a year from their properties. Or say your income's 20,000, theirs is 60,000. Just because they learned that one skill or leveraged out and got somebody else to source at 20% discount, but made it a must for them to be able to grow in that way. Okay. Hope you've got pen and paper to hand and you're making notes, and I hope that there's a big fat note that says I must buy at discount. I've got to leverage and buy at discount. Okay. It's all about committing to mastery. Okay. 88% of business owners who invest their time in business courses earn more than their counterpart who does not. Investing is your business, it's your future. So whatever you think of business owners, whether you're going to end up with 1 property, 5 properties, 10, you are a business owner. It might be a small business, but you are a business owner. You need to invest in yourself and learn the skills to outsource, which is exactly what you're doing now listening to this webinar. So the beauty of leveraging that learning is you learn it once and then it can benefit you year after year after year. I know I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but I want you to get this. When you learn to tie your shoelace, it might have taken you 3 months of frustration, tears, trying again and again and again. But once you learn that skill, have you leveraged that? Do you do it now while you're doing something else and don't even realize you've done it? It's subconscious. The same with learning to drive a car. You had to have lots of lessons, but once you'd had those lessons, you could leverage it. And now you do it virtually subconsciously. So you've got to commit to mastering things. You know, when you've got such little time, you don't commit to mastery. You dabble and you try a little of this and a little of that and learn a little of this and learn a little of that, but you never commit to mastery. And helping that is having the right peer group around you, the right people that can help turn those jargons into simple ideas. So how do you leverage your time? What's my recommendations? The first is find a local networking group. You know, it's not in my interest to preach this. I don't run any local networking groups. Find a local property networking group. The main reason for doing that is because you'll be around like-minded people. Okay? If you're not sure where to start with this, PIN, Property Investor Network, run by Simon Zucci, is a brilliant group to get involved with. They're in 50 different towns, above that now probably, above 50. So if you Google Property Investor Network, if you've not been before, if you use the voucher code INSIGHT, you'll get into your first one for free, and go along and check it out. But the main goal that I've got for you is to go along and check it out, not to listen to all the speakers, that'd be great, but actually to network with other people and get to find people in your area who have the right attitude and the right approach, because they'll help you when you need to leverage your time, when you need to find the right experts to help you, when you need help, they'll know the people to speak to. I'm not saying they're the people to speak to, by the way. I'm saying they should know the right people in that group. Find the experienced people in that group. Find the people that are leveraging other people and using other people's experience and expertise, and tap into that. You need to get clear on which strategy you want to master. So many people in education are learning about so many different things. My 5th webinar in this masterclass will cover the 6 market-leading strategies in property and how to choose which one suits you best. You can go to 10 different networking meetings and at every one listen to 2 speakers in property, so that's 20 speakers in total, who are all saying great things about property. They're all telling you their strategy. One might do joint ventures, one might do rent to rent, one might specialize in houseable multiple occupation, one might do family lets, and they're all brilliant at what they do and they're making great money at what they do. The trouble for you is you're listening to them speak for an hour, they give you a couple of nuggets of information, and then you go away and you think, I don't possibly know anywhere near enough to be able to deliver that. And then you hear someone else speak and someone else speak, different topic. And before you know it, in a year, you've heard 20 different topics. You become a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And that leads to fear, actually. You're going to these meetings and listening to all this education to create confidence. But because you're only hearing a little about a lot of things, you know, Josh, my 15-year-old son, he's sitting his GCSEs this year. He can't go sit 20 GCSEs and learn a little about each one and expect to be successful. What he needs to do is focus in and decide which GCSEs can he be really successful at, which ones can he master, and then he picks those GCSE topics, which is what he's done, and then he really focuses on them. Now, for me, my recommendation, by the way, and I'll cover this in more in a little while, but you need to spend 3 months immersing yourself. Listen to as many different speakers, talk about as many different topics and as many different subjects. The goal, though, is to find one, maximum two, but ideally one strategy that really floats your boat. So for me personally, that's family let properties. I get those. It really floated my boat at discount, family let at discount. For somebody else, it might be high yielding properties. For somebody else, it might be houses of multiple occupation. For somebody else, it might be rent to rent strategy. But go listen to all these speakers. My webinar 5, which will be run as part of these set of webinars, will cover 6 of the market leading strategies. But go listen to the speakers, listen to this detail, and then choose one strategy for you. And then once you've chosen that strategy, spend the next 3 to 6 months just purely listening to people teach that. So don't get tied up in listening to people again and again teach you different topics that cloud your brain. It's better to travel 50 miles, 100 miles to a different networking meeting where your particular topic's being covered that night than it is to take the easy route and just go to your local meeting. Okay? You need to learn from the masters. Once you've picked your one topic, find the best 3 people in the country that teach it and are doing it as well, by the way, not just good at teaching it, but doing it as well, and go find out what they do, how they do, and copy it. Because if they're outstanding at it already and you learn from them, you'll get brilliant results. But if you learn from someone average who's only done it once or twice before, you'll get very poor results. Learn from average, you get poor results. Then just apply that skill that you learn. Apply and learn, apply and learn, apply and learn until that skill is mastered and making you good money. Then and only then, look for your second strategy. That is the way to get mastery. You don't become an outstanding professional footballer by also training to play cricket and hockey and netball. You become outstanding by dedicating yourself and just training and learning about that particular skill. So many of us, we get this. When I'm explaining this, you get it, but so many of us make a mistake on this one. Okay. So let's talk about the leverage of experience. The kind of they do and did know better. I've kind of started on this one already, but there's no apologies, as it says on the slide, for repeating this. It's deliberate. Imagine you were learning to play tennis, and in front of you is Tim Henman, and in front of you is a tennis player who plays tennis at club level, local club. Who do you want to learn from? You want to learn from Tim Henman because he's got that experience, that knowledge, that depth of having played the game many, many times before. He's going to spend an hour with you, tweak your arm, move the way you're gripping the racket, and he's going to make massive difference. Okay? That's an obvious question, but yet in property, we don't follow the same logic. So imagine if you had someone sat in front of you who'd bought over 100 properties, had interviewed another 50 people with 50 plus properties, and they were going to be your advisor in property investing. Would you rather they were your advisor or somebody that you know, a friend of a friend or an acquaintance or family member that's bought a couple of properties before? When you lay it out like that, it's really obvious, but you need to leverage other people's time. You need to find people who have got over 100 properties, that have interviewed over 50 people, that are walking the walk, and find out what they do and how they do it and copy it, because it will compound their decades of learning into just days for you. Why accept second best? We spend our lives in the UK and right across the world accepting second best, third best, fourth best. Leverage your time. Find the masters and copy what they do. Learn what they do. Either copy what they do or get them to do it for you. The leverage of discounts and how they can triple your financial return. So we talked about this already. Okay, a 20% discount triples the growth in 12 years. Triples. Please, again, write that one down. Okay, landlords don't know how to buy at discount, or they don't have the time to learn, so they settle for less. But for me, it's a fundamental. Don't accept anything less. Okay, accept instead, or demand instead, that you either find a way of finding the time to learn how to do it yourself, or you outsource it and you leverage it. You use somebody else. I'm not saying it's not hard work. I'm not saying there's not a skill to master here, but you've got options you can leverage and outsource to other people. There are over 800 banks, receivers, property sources, builders who can find you great deals. Okay, 95% of the deals that the Insight Group, my business, source for our clients, 95% never hit the open market. The person looking in the estate agent never gets to see those deals because we've built these relationships with banks, with receivers, with property sources, with builders. We outsource. I know how to, and again, in one of the other webinars in this masterclass, I'll teach you how to find your own deals with 15% plus discount. I'll show you exactly how to do it. But we outsource because we know we can do it ourselves, but having 800 people doing it for us is going to get the deals to us so much more quickly than me having 5 people do it in my team. Instead, those 5 people or 4 people can manage those 800 relationships instead, and we'll get 800 times the amount of deals instead of 4 times the amount of deals. So you need to get a team in place to find you these deals. If you truly understand the numbers I've showed you, I know that you'll want to buy at discount. So get a team in place to find you those deals. And leverage your money by getting people to get you those discounts. Now you can grow your own teams of people to do that. I'm going to teach you how to do that in further webinars as part of this masterclass, part of this series of 10 webinars. Or you can outsource. You can use a company like ours, Property Sourcing Made Easy. For only £297, you get access to over 1,000 buy-to-let deals with a 15% plus discount or very high yields over the next year. You can use a company like them. The leverage of outsourcing, so compounding other people's decades in today's. So what do I mean by outsourcing? I want you to really start to think about this. You know, when I first started out in property, I was a very tight Yorkshire man. Okay, so when I heard what letting agents charge, 10% plus VAT to manage my property, 60, 70 pounds a month, I thought they were ripping me off. I could do this better myself. And a good friend of mine who was also building a portfolio, when he found out that gardeners charged £8 an hour to cut his grass at his buy-to-let, where the grass needed cutting because it was a HMO, he decided to do that himself every Saturday morning and drove over to the HMO and cut the grass himself. We were really naive back then. A letting agent might cost you £700 per annum. But if you learn to source at discount, that can save you £30,000 on your next deal. So if I take my time that I was spending being a letting agent, and even if it was only a small amount of time, and I take that time and I invest it instead into myself, into my learning, I leverage my learning, I leverage myself. Learn it once, you know it forever. And I learn how to buy with £30,000 of discount. That then pays for 40 years of letting agent for one of my properties. How's my time better spent? If I take that money and spend it on something like Property Sourcing Made Easy or a property sourcing company, another property sourcing company, and they find me great deals, much better use of the money. Okay. Don't do the refurbishment yourself. You know, here's Richard, my friend, cutting the grass. Okay, do not cut the grass. Do not refurbish yourself. So many investors I meet are handy. You know, they might be good at doing stuff themselves. They're good at electrics, or they're good at painting, or they're good. The challenge is that we mix things up. And, you know, I'll meet people like that, and it takes them 3-4 months to refurbish a property that could have been refurbished in 4 weeks. Now, they've done it to save themselves £1,000, £2,000 worth of costs. But if that property rents for £600 a month and it could have been finished 2 months early, that's £1,200 of rent that you've lost out on. Plus, you've used all your time, which you could have spent looking for your next great discounted deal. So I really want to challenge you to think about how you spend your time in terms of refurbishment. Yeah, I have over 110 properties of my own, over 100 joint ventures, so that's well over 200 properties. I spend half an hour a week on my properties. That isn't something that I do now that I'm well off because of my properties. It's something I did from the beginning because I outsourced, I leveraged my time and found other people who were better at things than me and freed me up. You know, an electrician might say, well, yeah, but I'm an electrician. I can do the electrics myself. Well, if that particular electrician is a great electrician, they can probably bill themselves out at £35 an hour and get another electrician in at £20 an hour to do the work on their buy-to-let and spend those 2 hours they've just spent working on their buy-to-let somewhere else earning £35 an hour. You'd be better doing that. So even if you're actually a tradesperson, leveraging this out is normally better for you. You want to shorten that refurbishment period as tightly as you can. However bad the damage, we should always get a property refurbished in 8 weeks tops, normally 4. Okay. Again, we cover that in another webinar. It's all about, as I said, compounding decades into days from learning from those that are outstanding. You then get very good results. Okay. Committing to mastery is key. You either need to commit to mastery yourself. Committing to mastery is about saying, I won't accept learning from anybody that's second best. Okay, absolutely no disrespect to anybody you might be learning from, but I'm going to leverage my time. I only have a certain amount of time to learn. I only want to spend my time wisely. I want to learn from the best, and I'm not going to accept anything less. So who are the best people? Who are the best 3 in the UK that do student HMOs, if that's what I want to do? Who are the best 3 that do family lets? Who are the best 3 that do rent to rent, if that's what you want to do? And go find out what they do and how they do it. Go on their courses or take them out for lunch. Offer to take them out for lunch. Try and get around them. Spend time around them. Proximity is power. You'll learn so much. Or you commit to learn enough so you can make the right decision to choose the right experts to work with you. The right decision to be able to pick the right mortgage broker. The right decision to be able to pick the right property sourcing company or property sourcing individual or portfolio builder, for example. So, but again, you want to learn from the best so you can make those decisions as wisely as possible. In webinar number 6, we'll cover how to build a power team, how to build a team of people around you who will help you to deliver the very best results. People who are 9 and 10s out of 10, not 1s and 2s. So just to clarify some of the points we've been through, simplify, not diversify. Choose 1 or 2 areas and learn all about those. Do not keep learning about 10, 20 different types of investing. It doesn't serve you. We're always told to diversify, but that can leave you master of none. Drill down, become the master of 1 strategy and deliver it really well until it's making you really great money. Then look at the second. Find the best people you know at what you want to learn. So in summary, decide to commit to mastery or to find the experts to do it for you. Research for 3 months hard and then choose the 1 area that you will become the master of. Outsource where you can to speed your journey, whether that's using property sources, whether that's using a letting agent. Outsource and commit to your own personal learning. Okay? Learn how to pick who to work with. Okay? We're going to cover at webinar number 6, the Power Teams webinar. Get traction. Have someone or something hold you accountable to get your training moving. So I haven't covered this in detail actually, but get somebody that you're going to buddy up with. Get somebody who's you're going to make a promise to this week and say, this week to move my journey forward, I need to find 3 property sources to work with. Or this week I need to go on this course or book this or do that. And get a buddy that's going to hold you to the fire, that's going to make sure you deliver. Every single night, I email my buddy and I have a list of 20 things that I know will make me an outstanding husband, an outstanding father, outstanding at business, an outstanding friend. And every single night I score myself out of 10 on those 20 things. Now I've done the thinking in advance. I know what those things are that will make me outstanding in the world, will make me be the person I want to be. And that, by the way, that's my definition of outstanding. Your definition is different. But get a buddy, and if I send those over and I'm not scoring 9s and 10s, my buddy's going to interject. They're going to come back at me and say, how's it going? Can I help? Is there anything you need to do differently? Just the fact that I have to report to my buddy makes me think hard about what I'm doing every day, every hour of every day. You know, when I feel like being lazy, but I'm only a 7 on something, I'm not going to sit in front of the TV. I'm going to push and make sure it's a 9 or a 10. So have a great buddy that holds you accountable. By the way, they send me theirs. We just exchange it each night and we chip each other along. It takes probably 5 minutes of my day, 10 minutes tops, but I'm reviewing my day thoroughly and I'm seeing whether I'm moving towards my true goals. So if you've got goals to leverage your time, get those in there and share them with a buddy and bounce off each other. And choose the right masters to learn from. If you want to learn rent to rent, who are you going to learn from? If you want to learn family lets, who are you going to learn from? Whose educational products are you going to buy? Whose webinars are you going to listen to? Okay. I want to finish the webinar off just by talking about momentum. Okay. Because everything I've covered today might feel like, gosh, he's just given me a whole list of another 20 things I need to do now. And I've not even got started with my investing or not got started with my next stage. And now he's piling on all these other things I need to do. I want you to think about when you're back in the playground as a child and the roundabout in the playground, you're playing with the roundabout and you're trying to get it going. And probably your 3 best friends are sat on the roundabout. And you've been nominated to jump off and push. And you're there and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you can't get this thing going and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and eventually it just starts to move and you're leaning all your weight into it and it starts to move and it starts to move and you push and you push and you push and it starts to go faster and faster and you push and you push and eventually you jump on and it whizzes round and round and round and you and your 3 friends are screaming with the fun and enjoying the ride. And as it starts to slow a little bit, you just quickly jump off and you whip your foot a couple of times and kick it and it's going fast again and you're back on it again and round it goes. It starts to slow and just jump off and a quick couple of clicks and off you go again. If you remember that roundabout, that's how life works. That's how momentum in life works. Nothing in life that is easy to get is worth having. It's those people that show up consistently. It's that consistency of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing that then get all the joy that they want, all the success that they work for. And people will turn around and go, that guy's so lucky, or that person, that lady, she suddenly becomes successful. It isn't sudden. If you go look and dig deep down, there's a consistency of effort. They might have only had 20 minutes a day, but they've done it every single day for the last 2 years. It can take success up to 30 months to turn up. Yeah, it can take success a long time to show up. But there's a massive benefit in harnessing that power of momentum. So what I'd encourage you to do, what I'd challenge you to do when we finish this call, is to decide how much time you can actually realistically put into this. And if the answer to that is only an hour a week, you need to get great at leveraging out to other people. If you actually want to do this for yourself, you're trying to make a living in property and it might be you've got 20 hours a week, then you need to get educated by the right people and get the right leverage so you can do it for yourself. But you need to think about what time and effort you can put into this consistently. Spending 2 hours on a Sunday and then you're back into a busy week and you miss next weekend because there's a wedding and then another week's gone, 2 weeks have gone, then you spend 2 hours on the Sunday again. That's not consistency. That's not really going to get you anywhere. That's going to get you to a point where you either give up and you don't buy, where you're still fearful, you don't know enough to be able to confidently move forward, so you totally miss out, or you get fed up and you end up buying but you don't get the discount, so you don't leverage that knowledge. So I really hope that you from this webinar, you think about what you're going to leverage. How are you going to leverage your time? How are you going to outsource? Who are you going to work with? Who are you going to get educated from? Which companies are you going to use to do this for you? Okay, and it's that power of routine, that power of consistency that leads to success. That's why the rich get richer, the happier get happier. Unfortunately, the opposite's true. The poorer get poorer, the depressed get more depressed because they're being consistently depressed. Okay. Really, really hope you found the webinar useful. Our next webinar is actually how to find, analyze, and finance an incredible property deal. Okay, how to find, analyze, and finance an incredible property deal. If you look out in your inbox, you'll see the invite to that webinar, so you can come and join me there. Thank you very much for listening. Okay, I'm sure there have been questions asked as we've been going along, and I'm going to make sure that we cover all of those questions. We make sure we answer every question that's been asked. Now, just before we do that, because I've seen a couple of the questions, people ask what we actually do at the Insight Group. So I'm just very briefly for 2 minutes going to give you an introduction to what we do at the Insight Group. Literally just 2 slides, so you've got a feel, and then we'll go through all of the Q&A and all the questions that have been asked. So our kind of headline product, we have quite a number of products, but our main product is a portfolio building service. So many of people leverage us entirely. They use us in a total hands-free way, and they say, will you go grow me a portfolio, please? And to use the portfolio building service, then clients give us anywhere between 75,000 and £500,000. And they say, here's a lump of money. They keep it in their own bank account, but here's a lump of money I've got. Will you grow me a portfolio? So with a 75,000 investment, in the short term, in the first year, it's actually the first 6 months, we buy that client 2 properties. They're bought with a guaranteed 20% discount from Rick's valuation, not our valuation, independent. Rick's surveyor has been out and valued the property, said it's worth 100, let's say, and they're buying them for 80, 20% genuine discount. That means based on just 5% per annum property price growth, you'll get a minimum of 100% growth in cash and equity by the end of year 5. All managed for you and all bought to our proven rules. I've not covered those in this webinar, but we've got incredibly strict rules. We actually reject 59 out of every 60 properties we get to see, even though they've got a 20% discount. So whereas most investors go, I'll buy that, that's brilliant, 59 out of 60 of them with 20% discount, we still reject for other reasons. Okay. All managed for you. We source the property, we negotiate on it, we get the discount, we sort the mortgage broker, we sort the solicitor, we get the property bought for you, we refurbish it, we tenant, and we manage it. Okay. All bought to the rules I've used to buy every single property that I've bought in the last 10 years. You might want a 6-year plan. We bespoke it for you, but say you wanted a 6-year plan. After 6 years, you'd have 5 properties. You'd be able to release £20,000 per annum of tax-free income from the properties based on 5% property price increase. In this example, let's say you wanted a 12-year plan. Okay, based on 5% increases per annum, you'd have 9 properties bought and owned in your name for a 75,000 investment. Not another single penny put in. No further investment required, guaranteed. You've got 9 properties, total value £1.4 million portfolio. Minimum of £260,000 worth of equity in the properties and the ability to release £40,000 per annum tax-free from the properties. Okay, that's your share of the profits, £260,000 worth of equity and £40,000 per annum. I say your share because the other benefit of this product is you've got a partner that's myself, personally myself. So somebody with over 200 properties is invested, underpinned by the guarantees in each of these properties. So you put the money up, we do all of the work, we get the properties together, and you get 75% of the upside, and I get 25% of the upside. But in return for that, I guarantee the downsides, which I'm just going to show you on the next slide. But as a summary, 75,000 in, 12-year period, we can bespoke it for you. You can put more money in, you can't put less in, but you can put more in, you can make it quicker, you can have a 6-year plan. But 75,000 in over 12-year plan would give you as your share an income of £40,000 per annum tax-free from year 12 onwards. Okay, not a bad return. Now, and you're getting that in a safe, secure environment because these guarantees underpin it. So we guarantee if you're unhappy with any property that we purchase for you any time in the first year, we'll buy it back from you at cost price. Okay, that one's in the middle there. So if we go buy you a property No one else in the UK offers this. This is how confident we are with the properties we buy because we're so diligent in what we do. If we buy you a property and you're unhappy with it at any point in the first year, we'll pay you back every penny you've spent on it, including the refurbishment, the solicitor's cost, the valuation, everything. We've never had anyone claim on that, but it's there for your peace of mind. We guarantee if your contingency runs out, if you invest 100,000 with us, you'll never put another pound in. Even if interest rates go to 10%, even if 3 of your houses get trashed and the boilers break at the same time, we guarantee that if ever we don't manage your investment well enough so that if interest rates do go up or damage happens, if ever we run past the 100,000 mark, I have to personally put the money in, not you. I have to fund any extra money that's needed, not you. We've never needed to do it because we manage things properly, but it's there for your peace of mind. 100% growth on your investment in the first 5 years. Rental checks carried out before we even buy a house, so we know it will rent. Because of that, we can guarantee you, even including the refurbishment time, we'll get the property refurbished and tenanted normally in about 6 weeks. But if we don't get it done in 12 weeks, we pay the rent, not you. Property is fully refurbished to a letting standard, no overspends, because if I overspend you by £1,000, that's cost me £250. I'm not going to go sit on a beach and forget about your properties because I've got skin in the game. It's in my interest that they do really well. We look at 60 properties already 20% below market value just to recommend you one. And you have total control. You have no tie-in periods whatsoever. So that's our portfolio building product. Some of you may want to learn more about that and to know more about how we take that 75,000 investment, because I've just given you the kind of the broad brush there. If you would like to learn more about that, if you just let me know, then I can make sure we just send you out some information. We'll just send you out probably a video of me presenting the detail of that model. It takes about half an hour to go through and show you slide by slide how we take that money and how we build up a portfolio of 9 properties financially based on 5% growth over that period of time. You might just be a maybe it'd be good to hear more, or you might be a yes, I'd be really interested. So, or you might just be purely here for the education and portfolio building doesn't interest you at all. But if I can just ask you to click on one of those as quickly as possible, I'm just going to grab a very quick drink and then we'll make sure we answer any and all questions that have been asked on the webinar tonight. Okay, so just please click on there as quickly as you can for me. Okay, if I can just ask you to click as quickly as possible. There's about 50% of the audience still haven't clicked, so it's absolutely fine to say you're just here for education. It's absolutely fine to say you're interested. And if you're interested, all you're committing to is we're going to send you out a recording of how we do that, how we take a 75,000 investment and over time build it into £40,000 per annum. But it'd be really, really useful for me and my team, so they just follow up with the right people. And if you don't want that email sending, we know and we're not sending it out. If you haven't ticked either, we don't know where you are, then we're probably going to get in contact and just check if you want. And we don't want to get in your way like that if you don't need it. Okay, so I'll just wait for the final 20% of people to just click on there. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, if you want to type them in, and we're going to move forward in just a second and deal with any questions that people have asked on the webinar today. Okay, cool. There's about literally 50% of the audience are saying they'd like to follow up and like to hear more about the portfolio building, and 50% are saying, no, thank you, I'm just here for the education, which is absolutely great. No problem at all. Okay, right. I'll close that poll down so you can see the slides again. By the way, if you are interested, if you already have been around us for a while and you are interested, you can speed up speaking to the team and just email them direct and say you're interested. So you could email interested to info@propertyinsight.info, and the team will directly get back in touch with you to help explain the product and go through it in any detail that would help. Okay, so in terms of questions, actually we don't have that many questions coming in this evening, but let's see what we've got. So lots and lots of people saying thank you for a great webinar. Comments like a really useful webinar really helped me focus on a few issues I've been having. So I really appreciate your feedback there. Thank you for that. Really, really appreciate it. I've got a question coming in here from Graham. Graham saying, hi Aaron, I need direction. 27 years old and I'm investing in single lets in Scarborough. I currently have, Graham, I don't know if you're in our database already. You're a client of Mortgage Insights maybe, but otherwise very coincidental you're in Scarborough, so that's great. I currently have 2 properties. I'm wanting to be a full-time property investor. I want to learn from the best. I'm wanting to learn and copy. I've been to progressive property events and PIN networking events. I need a local expert to help. Can you help? Graham, brilliant email. Thank you. I promise everybody else on the call I haven't set that email up. Graham, we can help. We've got our own educational products just about to launch. So what I'd suggest you do is email the team info@propertyinsight.info. I've spent the last 5 or 6 years really focused on growing our do-it-for-you businesses so we can do it for people. But we found that we can help so many more people through education, and I really have a passion for helping people. And because my businesses now are able to run themselves, they have managers in place that run them and deliver the services to our clients, then I'm actually from the start of next year doing lots more education. So our full membership product, for example, gives you access to me directly personally. We do two webinars a month where you can ask me any question you want. We've got 36 webinars from me during the year just for that exclusive set of people. We've got 12 guest speaking webinars. We've got an Ask Aaron forum where you can ask me any question you want. We've got a 3-day event in with the package. You can come along and spend 3 days and really get immersed. You've got a DVD, you've got a 6-set audio, you've got 20 hours worth of content like this, all within the package. So that package is launching in the new year, but actually people can start to sign up from it in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So if you're interested in that, maybe if you drop an email, info@propertyinsight.info, just say that you're interested in the educational package and the team will get back in touch, Graham, and give you more details. They don't have the full details yet because we're just finishing putting things together, but as I said, that'll be launching in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and it's going to be at a fantastic price. Compared to the other education out there, I really want to deliver masses of value. So we may well be able to help you, Graham, from that point of view to really take your investing onto the next level. So thank you for that question. Otherwise, of course, there's all of our free webinars. I definitely recommend PIN, which you're doing. Progressive are great guys. You've been around them, which is great as well. It's really about finding the right strategy that's going to be right for you. And watching that webinar in a couple of webinars time on the 6 different strategies, I think will be really useful for you to focus in on which strategy you might want to use. Okay. I'm being asked what are the other products that you have. So I'll finish answering the other couple of questions and then I'll answer that question as well. So a couple of people have asked that. So Ben's asking, how much are your management fees per month percentage-wise? Ben, if you're asking about our rental insight product, so our letting agency, no one's tied to using our letting agency, but if you want to use them, they're £400 plus VAT to find a property for you. Or if you want them just to manage your property, it's 10% plus VAT management charge. So they work from Northampton up to Newcastle, East Coast to West Coast, but they're their management fees. If you're asking about the portfolio building product, then actually there's no other fees to pay on top of the 75,000 or whatever you invest, but we do charge property sourcing fees. There's a membership fee, and that will all be in the detail that we're going to send out to you, Ben. Okay. Okay, Mark's asking, hi, where do you have more info available on buying at 20% discount, please? Well, Mark, first of all, there's a webinar that's in the webinar series. So this was the 3rd of them. In the 7th webinar, which will be in about a fortnight's time, then in that webinar, I literally go through the detail of how you can buy at discount. So you want to watch out for that and register for that webinar because I'll spend a whole hour specifically on buying at discounts. You may be interested in our other companies. It links to the questions actually, so I'll just click and get the slides up in front of you. There are in total 5 products that we have in the Insight group, okay, or 5 key products that are separate to education. So there's the portfolio building, which I've covered in some detail on those 2 slides. But we then have some clients that say, I get you do portfolio building, but I just want to try and do it one at a time. And for those clients, they get involved with what we call Cash Flow Builder. It's a new product we've just launched recently, which doesn't focus so much on discounts, but focuses on high yield family lets. So we're looking for family let properties that yield at least £200 a month, even on a worst case scenario mortgage. So on today's rates, it's probably 300 a month, but it'd be at least 200 a month, even on a 5-year fixed deal. That are in great rental areas. So when we run a rental advert, we get a minimum of 10 replies, so we know the property is always going to rent really, really easily. Meets all of our other rules apart from being bought at a discount. But we can buy those individually. Some investors say, we want to work with you, but we don't want to commit 75,000. We've got 30,000 or 40,000. What can we do? That's an individual product. So you spend £3,600. We source you an awesome, high-yielding, family-let property in a hands-free way. So we find it, we negotiate on it. So there'll be a bit of discount, but nowhere near the 15-20%, just a bit of discount. But yielding at least £200 a month. We get it bought for you. We sort the solicitors, the mortgage broker. We get it refurbished. We get it tenant. We get it set up for you. For a lot of working people who are busy, that's a great way. If they want high yields and want to create income today, that's a great way of getting a family-let property under their belt without the risks of a house of multiple occupation, for example. That's totally hands-free. Again, that comes with a profit share, so the downside you're giving a bit away, but there's lots of guarantees come with that. If you want more information on that, we can send more information out. In fact, I think I've got the ability to put that up. Yeah, so that's called Cash Flow Builder, if that interests you. Then we've got Property Sourcing Made Easy. So for somebody like Mark, who's just looking for discounted deals, okay, Mark says, I just want to see discounted deals. He may want education, but he may want to just find those deals. Well, we have our Property Sourcing Made Easy product, and that product basically gives you access over the next year to 1,000 properties with a net 15% plus discount. When I say net, that's after any fees we charge for sourcing the property, or if we've got property sourcing agents sending us the deal, their fees as well. So you're getting a genuine net 15% plus discount or high yielding property, and you get access to at least 1,000 of those into your inbox. Okay, for that, plus access to all of our power teams that we've built over the last 2 decades. So all of our mortgage brokers, accountants, financial advisors, refurbishment teams, letting agents in your area. So if you buy a property in Northampton and you want a refurbishment team in the same area, a mortgage broker, a solicitor, you get access to the last 2 decades of us building that database and using those people. You get access to all of that for the princely sum of £297. It used to be £1,200 for the year. It's £297 to get access to all of those deals. That's Property Sourcing Made Easy. Or you may just want a mortgage broker now or in the future. Mortgage Insight is our mortgage broking company. We've got over 6,000 clients we look after on a long-term basis. And Rental Insight is our rental agent. As I said, from Northampton up to Newcastle, West Coast to East Coast. So you may be interested in connecting with those people right now today. You may want a mortgage broker in 3 or 6 months' time that specializes in buy-to-let, that's got real deep expertise. There's about 6 companies in the UK that do over 10 buy-to-let mortgages a month. Mortgage Insight are one of them. So we really understand that marketplace. Okay, so if you've got any interest in any of those, Mark, that may help you as well, and that also answers the questions that have been asked by Joanne and also for Paul earlier on. So, okay, if anyone's on the call that would like an introduction to any of those companies, if you just click to let me know, we'll make sure that we send you out an email with a bit more background information and the relevant links that you can click to go check out those products and check out those companies in a bit more detailed way. Okay. Claire's asking, are those 1,000 deals in Property Sourcing Made Easy right across the country? They are, Claire. So if you were saying to me, I just want properties in Birmingham and that is it, I don't want properties anywhere else, it might be only 10 or 20 properties during the next year. But that's 10 or 20 properties with a genuine 15% plus discount or high yield in that particular area. You know, again, if you get the right power teams in place, which I'm going to teach on a future webinar, I think that's the Yeah, I think that's the 6th webinar we do. So probably next week at some point we'll cover power teams. You get the right power team in place. You really don't want to be focusing on just your area. It limits your investment options. You want the best financial possible return. I get why people are worried about area, but they need to have the right team in place to manage those properties. But yeah, they are across the country. You can opt out so they don't fill your inbox. You can say, can I just have ones in this area or just ones in this area? But it is 1,000 across the country. Mark, if you're really interested in that product, that's great. I'll get one of the team to call you tomorrow. If you want to be right at the top of the queue, because a few people have said that, you can also email info@propertyinsight.info and ask for the team to give you a call to tell you all about that product. Okay, so I hope that's been useful for you by covering that in some more detail. Okay. We've got, just out of interest, 38% of people on the call want to follow up with portfolio building. 77% of people have asked for more information on cash flow builder, so we'll get that out to you. 46% property sourcing made easy, 31% mortgage insight, and 15% rental insight. So that's absolutely great, and we'll make sure we get the relevant information out to you so that you can follow up on those particular products. If you want to click on any of those, click as quickly as possible, because I want to close that down so people can see the screens again. That's great. Now, I think I've covered all the questions that have come in, but I may be wrong. So if I haven't covered your question, if you want to type it in again for me, that will be absolutely great, and I can make sure I cover it. Otherwise, please look in your inbox. Look out for the invites to the next webinars, and we'll get you invited to some more great content. I really hope you found tonight of value. I hope it helps you to think about your investment journey and get yourself set up correctly. As I said, the next webinar in this masterclass is how to find, analyze, and finance an incredible property deal. We're going to go deep on finding them, analyzing them, and financing them. Okay. Can't see any other questions that have come in, so very best wishes with your investing. I look forward to working with some of you very closely, and my team working with you, some of you very closely. And for the rest of you, really wish you all the best with your journey. As I said to you earlier on, Graham and anybody else interested in the education side of things, if you send an email to info@propertyinsight.info, and the team will make sure that they get that education stuff out to you. That's info@propertyinsight.info, and yeah, we'll make sure that you know about our future products that are coming out soon. Thanks very much for being online. Wishing you all the best with your investing. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.